Okay, Tan Sri, this is the first, it's a comment actually. Thank you, Tan Sri. Thank you so much. So much wisdom shared today. So that's the first, okay. There's someone coming in. Hi, Prof. Tan Sri. Good evening. Would like to ask your opinion on how to deal or interact with manager or supervisor who has a very toxic attitude that can affect the organization as a whole.
Exactly. I told you, when you have this type, they are not leaders, right? If you create a very toxic environment, um, this is really, and when they are there for a period of time, like in the university, there's just like 2 or 3 years they are there, and then maybe they can be replaced. But I know in some institutions, once you're appointed, you are appointed, and that's it, you are stuck with that head. So if that head, unfortunately, if that head creates a toxic environment, it becomes um, unbearable. Some people say you might as well move to another place. But there are times when, based on your own leadership skills, your ability to deal with people, you can get around these people, and sometimes they can see. If you yourself show by good example how you treat others, and they see it, there is a chance for them to change. I it's sometimes it's about maturity. Sometimes you get people like this who don't show the maturity they should show at that age, and they get stuck with some infantile problems, the opposite of what I've been telling you to do. For example, they take praise for the work of others, or they put their names to other people's work, or they don't know how to communicate. Some of these things, um, some are attributes, I don't know whether they can change. But you, as being part of the team, if you remain in the team in such a toxic environment, you can actually help to create or lessen the toxicity by showing those attributes that I talked about. There's you can't go up and confront that guy, because you know what you're going to get. You have to show respect to him or her. I say him, but I mean her as well, okay? Show the attributes that I talked about to that person. Behave in that way. If that person is rude to you, don't be rude. Be very nice. Reply in a good way. Always show the good side and the good manners that you have. Eventually, that person is going to see that no matter how hard or harsh you're going to be with this person, this is the way he's going to respond, with respect, with integrity, with honor. I can only advise that, because there's no point in writing surat layang or, complain. It's not going to work, because this is about interpersonal relationship within your own unit. I've seen people, they try to go above and try to get influence to come in and work. That person is going to get worse sometimes if they think you have instigated that whole chain of events. Yeah, so I think you should continue to be what you are as a good leader, as a good specialist who can become a leader. Show that side of you in dealing with a toxic a toxic leader. That's my, it's painful, it's hard, but it will pay in the long run. Either people see you as good and they take you out and give you some other assignment, which is good, or they eventually make you the head of that unit, and then you have a chance to do what you want to do.
Okay, Tan Sri, there are a few more questions here. Good evening, Tan Sri. Can you share any bad experience or challenges that cause a setback and how you overcome it?
Experiences cause a setback. Yes, sometimes if you don't share, for me, if you want to do something, you have a goal, you have a target in mind, or some way of doing something, and you don't share enough with the people who are going to do it, there will be a setback because they don't understand. And when they don't understand, they begin to interpret things in their own way. They do things differently from what you want them to do, and worse, they do it in a counterproductive fashion. That can cause a very big setback. There were, of course, many instances of that when I was vice chancellor. So that's why, for me, sharing information, sharing your plans, sharing the goals, sharing the vision, that's very important. You must share it with the organization. And now it's very easy with IT. You can share and people can read it on the website. Um, communicate with them all the time. So for me, an open environment is very important, where people can always give their feedback. People can always tell you as you are progressing, tell you what they think and how they think things should move and should change. And I see this all the time when I was VC. As we move along, a lot of people come in and give me feedback along the way, and we adjust and adjust until it becomes good. I want to give you an example. If you see the convocation today and the convocation before I became the VC, there were many things that have changed. And we changed because a lot of people came in and gave us feedback in such an open way. Like, for example, when you all rise up at the end and bow to your parents and bow to your teachers, that came because one of the lecturers came to me and said, we must get the students to acknowledge the people, their families who have been responsible. Let let us do it during the convo. And so that's how we came up with that idea at the end. And of course, there were many other changes, in the convo. But I'm just trying to tell you that it's very important to listen, make your plans open and known, and that you listen and you're willing to change with them, with what they say.
Thank you, Tan Sri. There are two questions here. There are many more, but there are two questions that are fairly similar here. Thank you for the wisdom word, Tan Sri, and for the inspirational talk. Can you tell us what's your motivation to achieve where you are today?
I told you the purpose, right? The outcomes, the right outcomes. You must be driven by your vision, which you have stated, and you have some outcomes that you want. You must be driven by that. That's your motivation. And to go there is to bring people with you. You cannot go there alone. You have all kinds of people. You need to bring them on board and move. So you need to work with them. And my motivation, of course, is to reach the outcome, but to inspire the others to come along.
Thank you, Tan Sri. There's an interesting question here. Hi, Tan Sri. Thank you for the inspiring talk. An old age question. Can a woman have it all? Can you give some advice on how to empower women to become leaders?
This one is a 1 hour talk. That's why I brought in that idea of gender equality, balancing work, home, community. You have a life outside of your work. But unfortunately, tradition, or by tradition, people seem to think that it's a woman's work in the home when it is not. So it's not just the woman's work, it is everybody's work. It is also the husband's work, everybody, and the children's work to keep the home intact and united and harmonious. So understanding that that a woman can go on in life, because it's very important you allow the woman to contribute, not just in the home but at the work, because gender diversity is very important in the work, and all of you must understand that it should not be all men heads of department, all men vice chancellors, all men deputy vice chancellors, or all men are heads of divisions in the Ministry of Health and so on. You must have the diversity in the institution, because it has been shown that if you have diversity, you are going to get better ideas, you're going to get more creative, and the organization performance is much better. So that shows that women are important in the workplace, okay? But what is the problem is to achieve that, to go to the highest level. That's where the problem is, because of this work, home, and balance, yeah? Trying to balance. Women have to do more. So people have to understand that this is what's holding women back, that they have all these other extra commitments when actually they can go further. So the organization need to understand that they have to help the women. They have to put in more strategies to assist. Firstly, they must make sure that the whole hierarchy in the organization understand that there's value in gender diversity, that there's value in putting women in leadership positions. That's number one. Then they have to put in some procedures, some processes to make sure women can go further. For example, women, when like you all, when you're doing your specialist course, this is your reproductive age. This is the time when you're raising families, getting married, having young children, and it's a big burden on you. So sometimes you choose what you think are easy courses, not so demanding on your time. Or there are places which allow for on-course learning, or you allow more time for women to finish their course. Don't put like everybody must finish in 4 years or something. They allow women to finish a bit later. So there are things that you need when they have these other problems to look at. Yeah. So you need to, some women have to do their thesis on the kitchen table. So that's how it is for women. So you must understand that, because they have this added burden, and it's not going to go away, let me tell you, because to change the culture and the beliefs, that will take a long time. Mother-in-law say, hey, go to the kitchen and do the work to their to their daughter-in-law, but never to the son-in-law. Okay. So so you need to have some policies, give more scholarships, allow more flexi time. Don't ask them to come to, flexi time in terms of work. So these are some of the things people have been doing, and then have nurseries, childcare facilities at work. So these are some of the things, policies and programs you put in place to help women to achieve them to the optimum potential. They can go. The women are clever. They have the knowledge, they have the skills, they have the ability. But these are the obstacles that are being put in front of them, and they have to surmount this. So we have to remove these obstacles and make it easier for them. So I don't think you need to be motivated. You need to set your goal. Don't set a goal that's low. You have to set a high goal for yourself. The problem is everybody, the women, they don't set a high goal. They have go for the low fruits. You're not helping yourself. Set high, and then all these obstacles work in the organization to help remove the obstacles. That's the motivation. For me now, it's not about me motivating, trying to go as high as I can. The motivation for me now is, how do I help remove the obstacles? That's what we are doing now in the National Council of Women.
Thank you, Tan Sri. Actually, there are many more questions, but if I can pick up just one or two more because of the time. There's a comment here, Tan Sri. Hi, Prof. Tan Sri. I adore you now. And there's a smiley. As a woman myself, my vision is to be like you, Tan Sri. Thank you so much for the inspirational talk.
I wonder who. I think I know who.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'll just scan through some of this. Okay. Salam and good evening, Prof. Tan Sri. In exercising leadership, there will be frustrating times when we deal with difficult situations. Any advice regarding how to diffuse the stress?
Stress. Well, a lot of people do different things, right? Some people do yoga. Some people do meditation for stress, you know. Some people go out running or go bicycling, physical. They turn it into a physical activity. Others go into mental, you know, to calm yourself. Um, uh, I always say pause, keep quiet, don't do anything. Think for a while. Don't, you know, sometimes when you have difficult situations, you're in confrontation with somebody, you want to lash out. To me, take a step back and be calm and think about it for a moment before you take any action. I think that's what you always need to do when you are faced with some stressful situation. Reflect, think, step back. Don't react immediately because you are going to regret it.
Okay.
Did I answer your question? I'm not sure.
Okay. There, there are lots of thank yous, Tan Sri, for sharing here.
Okay.
One other question, Tan Sri, can you share how you instill change culture in organization?
Um, okay, change. You must remember, you remember the change is always happening, you know. But what I say that you must do is you must lead the change. Don't anticipate the change. Of course, you must anticipate change, but you must actually be leading in the organization. And for you to do that, remember what I told you, the three things. You, because we are medical professionals, we have service, we have the practice, okay? And education is always important and research is always important. If you put these three things together, you are going to develop a change culture in your organization because you are always going to be finding out new things. You're always going to be abreast with information, and you put all this together through the inquiry strategy. You know, when you think, oh, there's a problem here, how do we solve this? To solve and to come up with solutions, you need to research, you need to go find out, get more information, read, go talk to people, consult, go to the internet. But you are going to get a lot of information. You're going to piece this together, and you're going to come up with several options. Yeah. And then you can put this together to the test, try out one option. If it works, then you incorporate that in your organizational culture. So you're changing your culture because you incorporate a new thing. If it doesn't work, go back, look at other options, try out again. So it's always like you must anticipate the change. There's going to be a gap somewhere in your organization. People are doing things like this, but we are not getting these results. For example, some people are getting very good results, we are not. What's happening? There's a gap, right? When you have that gap, you need to research first. You need to find out what is it, what are the problems, what are the issues, and then you're going to say, we will come up with these options, let's do this. You have to test that. If it works, bring it as a policy or as a program into your organization. When you do that, then your organization is a learning organization. You have got a learning or a change culture within your organization.
Okay. So maybe I can just allow one last question, Tan Sri. Maybe I understand there's a bit of time here. It already past 1 hour, but just maybe one more question, although there are many more actually. Okay. So let's see this question. Sorry. Um,
Actually, I can see their questions.
Yeah, Tan Sri. I'm just trying to see what if Tan Sri wants to pick up any of them in particular. I have dismissed some of
So
them.
many. Huh?
Yeah, so I think this may be a bit more general then. It is inevitable that medical specialists will become leaders one day. How will you advise us to hone our leadership skills?
Okay, I think you should get a copy of my slides and look at that again.
Okay, that was quick. So maybe one more there because Tan Sri has answered that. Last one, let me see. Because I think some of them.
I saw one.
Yes.
How do we compete among colleagues in this
Uh,
modern era as everyone compete to be the best and to persevere to, I don't know,
and
something
persevere
healthy.
to, but to remain, make it just healthy
Healthy.
competition. Yeah. I
Yes,
think.
healthy competition.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I prefer the word collaboration. When you collaborate, because you can never be like the best, the one person. Even the best people call the best, that one person always has a team behind him or her. You always have a team. A specialist will always have a team. So you need to collaborate, you know, rather than compete. Even though you say healthy competition, actually is collaboration. You need to work together more rather than to compete. Compete is like you want to be one up. And to be one up, you need to deprive the other person of maybe some information, of some knowledge, and that's not what we want to do here, right? We want everybody to, I remember I told you, you must learn how to teach, learn how to help, learn how to mentor others so that they all become successful as well as you. And when that happens, the standards go up, everybody become good, and the standards go up. Why do you want to be alone? You don't want to be good alone. You'll never be good alone, let me tell you. You want everybody to come with you. And that's what is important in this network world. This is now a network world. You need to work with other people. You cannot work alone. You need to share. There's a lot of sharing. If you don't share, nobody share with you. You won't get anywhere too if nobody is sharing, okay?
Okay, Tan Sri. I think we promised you about an hour, although it's already past an hour. Actually, there are 16 more questions.
What?
16, 1 6.
Oh, six.
The ones that I have dismissed are not evident anymore. But perhaps because we promised Tan Sri, right, already, and it's already past 1 hour. I think maybe we will have to draw this session to an end for this time. But I think we most certainly look forward, right? I'm sure, Tan Sri, we can invite you again another time when you're back here. And I think for those who have asked about this to be viewed on video, because it's always nice when we talk and, it's sharing the slides are always different. But this is all recorded just to let the students know. And although it is also live on Facebook, I believe the Postgraduate Secretariat can make it available on our website so that you can access it. So we've got several recordings, so we can change it every now and then, but certainly we will put Tan Sri's. So I think
Can
just,
see Dr. Mahmud is on, you know.
yeah, that's right, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Dato'
just
is
saw his
on
name.
that. And Dato' want
I
to say
just saw his
anything?
name. I just saw his name.
Yes. So I think I don't have to summarize anything. There's just so many points, wonderful points to summarize. But I think I remember that Tan Sri mentioned you have to understand the forces of change in order to become good leaders. Define your purpose to drive the right outcome, and leadership occurs at all levels, and most certainly leadership is by example, and treat others as you want to be treated, and ensure that all voices are heard whenever you make a decision. And I remember these are some of the keywords that being when you aspire to be a leader, you must remember that you must have integrity, collegiality, and be caring. And remember, finally, last but not least, reskill, upskill, and although medicine is a lifelong learning process, don't forget to enjoy the journey.